Luke 10, verses 38 to the end. As they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha received him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted with much serving, and she went to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve alone? Tell her then to help me. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you are anxious and troubled about many things. One thing is needful. Mary has chosen the good portion, which shall not be taken away from her. This is the gospel of the Lord. I just want to pick up quickly, briefly, that first verse. So as they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha received him into her house. Now, Jesus once said to one disciple who said he'd follow him, he said to him, look, foxes have holes, birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man, referring to himself, has nowhere to lay his head. Because Jesus was a wandering teacher. He wandered all over Galilee, and he's very reliant, therefore, on the kindness of others to give him food and to give him shelter. And one such person was Martha, who Luke tells us received him into her house. And I think that's a basic description of a Christian. A Christian is he or she who, in the busyness of their lives, with all its conflicting demands and calls for their attention, has taken time to welcome Jesus into their hearts, into their homes. And it's an idea that Jesus actually used himself in John 14. He says in verse 23 of John 14, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. It's a lovely idea, isn't it, really? This opening up of our hearts and lives so that Jesus, with the Trinity, Father and Son and Spirit, come into one's heart and one's life. And we find that in Revelation chapter 3, verse 20 as well. Behold, Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock. And if anyone hears my voice and opens the door, then I will come into him and dine with him and he with me. Same idea, making room for God in our hearts. Like Martha, opening the doors of our house and saying to God, please come in, you are welcome. But I think what this reading tells us is really we need to go one step further. Because once he's in, we should not ignore him amongst the pots and pans of busy lives. Because we all have busy lives. I mean, ever since we retired, I'm one of those people that say, I don't know on earth I managed to do everything when I was working. And now I feel I'm the same with the retirement. It's very easy to fill up our lives with all kinds of things. But when we invite Christ into our hearts, I think what the reading is telling us is that we should not allow life and its demands to then take up all our attention, so much so that we forget him. That we push it to one side and say, Lord, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I've got too much to do. There's so many things there to do. I'll be with him in a minute, and then never spend time with him. It's all too easy. But what this reading is telling us, we need to take time daily to sit at his feet, to listen to his teaching, to get to know him, and to allow him then to go on teaching us and helping us to grow as a Christian. Martha welcomed Jesus into her house, but Jesus had to gently remind her that now he was there, she needed to spend some time with him. And so she says to her, Martha, Martha, you're worried and troubled about many things. And how many of us are worried and troubled about many things? He says, but one thing is needful. And Mary has chosen that good part which will not be taken away from her. So just two quick points. Becoming a Christian is about more than just asking or inviting or inviting Jesus into our hearts. And it's certainly not less than that, I have to say as well. Because that's what we do. In whatever form we do it, whether through baptism, confirmation, as we do it gradually in our lives, whatever way, we welcome Jesus into our heart to live with us and to be with us, listening to him, learning from him, conversing with him, and all the time growing closer to him. That takes it that step further. But secondly, it's all too easy once he's in our lives then, even whilst we're serving him, to forget about him. And the clergy are the worst ones. We are terrible. We get so caught up in visiting the sick and going to funerals and preparing weddings and baptism and the worship and the sermon that we forget to pray. And that's bonkers. That's bonkers. And how many clergy then have burnt themselves out or become spiritually completely dry because we're like Martha. We're busy doing all the things for God instead of spending time with God. And that's something that all of us can be guilty of at some stage. Martha was gently reminded that the good thing that will not be taken away from her will be the time that she spends with her Lord. And that same goes for us. Just one kind of corollary to this. When I read this reading, I can't help think about Yvonne today, because we're going to be giving thanks for her life. And she loved the presence of God. She always sought the presence of God. And it's interesting that the two hymns she's chosen is, first, to be in your presence. That's the first one. The second one is, be still, for the presence of the Lord, the Holy One, is here. She's chosen those carefully because I think she learned, partly because she couldn't do all the things she used to do because of she wasn't always well, particularly in the latter years, that to sit at the Lord's feet, to be in his presence, is the very best thing we can do. And when we do that, says the collect, well, we'll obtain all the promises that he so wonderfully gives us, and we will live in his presence forever. Amen. So just a few short prayers then. I'm just aware people are going to start to come in quite quickly.